In this Starfield news update video, I will be sharing with you some interesting comments coming from the guy in charge of Xbox and Bethesda, plus I want to clear up a few things regarding upcoming Starfield updates. Before we do get into today's news though, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future news updates on this game. Let's get started with what new info the big boss himself, Phil Spencer, had to say about Starfield this weekend. During this weekend, a huge event called CCXP was held in Brazil. It's for games, films, shows and more. Xbox is quite big in Brazil, so there was a big presence over there, and Phil Spencer did go out on stage to talk about all things Xbox as well as Starfield. He said he actually started playing Starfield around this time last year, whilst it was still in development. He couldn't stop playing it, even though the game was still a year away from releasing. And then he went on to say that Starfield now has over 12 million players. This is double from the first official count made by Bethesda, which was announced a few days after the game released. And this is 1 million more over the previous reported number by Microsoft, specifically by CEO Satya Nadella, at the end of October. 12 million is a big amount for this game. Some people seem to think that it's still at like 6 million. No, Satya did say it's reached over 11 million now, it's reached over 12 million players. Phil also said that it's still in the top 10 most played Xbox Game Studios games at this current time. Phil also thanked the Starfield fans for their support. Following this up, Phil says that their goal is to make Starfield a game that players keep playing for many years to come, just like Skyrim. Phil adds that we've already announced we are going to be adding more content to the game. He also discussed mods and the announced DLC. He said that we've already announced that we've got our next expansion coming, Shattered Space. We've already told the community that they'll get all the mod tools so that they can go and create their own content in Starfield, which has been so important to Skyrim. So I have a ton of confidence that for many, many years, Starfield will stay very, very high in the gameplay. To me, this sounds like he's setting up Shattered Space and the Creation Kit to be a significant part of Starfield next year, if it wasn't already. People seem to forget that Bethesda did say mods would be coming in early 2024, rather than the end of the year into 2025. I keep seeing people say we're going to be waiting 12 months for it. That's not what they said at all. And even without modding tools right now, the modding community is thriving. Over 6,000 mods have now been created for the game and put onto Nexus Mods, which is insane. In terms of mod downloads, over 30 million mods for this game have now been downloaded, and it's the game with the 19th most amount of downloads for mods in just a few months. Personally, I get the feeling that the Creation Kit update is going to be the significant major update for the first few months of 2024, and I also think many bug fixes will be included in that update. Bethesda will still be doing bug fixing updates, which we've seen over the past few weeks and months, but I could see a much bigger patch coming alongside the Creation Kit, and that's just speculation on my part, but I feel like that is the next big beat for this game, to get potentially new players or players coming back to the game. I would say the same goes for the Shattered Space DLC. We have no idea when it's coming out exactly, but I wouldn't expect it to be in the first half of the year. Expansions can take a lot of time, and most of Bethesda is working on this expansion by the sounds of it based on Todd Howard's recent comments, which I mentioned in a previous video. This will be, again, yet another big marketing beat for the game, and not necessarily a relaunch, but a big marketing beat, the biggest marketing beat to put this game back out into the front and mind of gamers. These days, DLC for single-player games are absolutely huge. We've seen that in just the last few weeks and days with Cyberpunk 2077. Its Phantom Liberty DLC has really brought in the numbers. I personally have been loving Phantom Liberty, and CD Projekt Red have put out just how many millions of people have been enjoying it. So it definitely helps when you have a huge expansion that delivers some of the best content in the game. Another thing I want to clear up is to do with the beta program that Bethesda have relaunched for Starfield. In my previous news update for this game, I went over the update that they released last week, and it only included 2 things that were fixed. People seem to think this wasn't a beta patch and was the main patch that went out to everyone. It's not going out to everyone, it's only specific users on Steam that opt in. Some players were really upset at Bethesda for only including 2 bug fixes with this update, but as we've seen in the past few weeks, it's not just been 2. They have fixed quite a few in various updates. This is just a very focused patch going out to a specific set of users to see if it introduces any more bugs, so Bethesda can fix them before it does go out to everyone on Xbox as well as PC. Again, it's not going out to everyone, most people are playing on Xbox. It's also worth noting that in the previous period of the beta program, they did do several updates before releasing the update to everyone, and when you combine all of them together, it made for a big patch, really. It was the biggest patch released for the game so far. Also, it's Christmas time, and every studio is winding down to take a couple of weeks off. If they were to release a massive update to Starfield that tries to fix bugs but then introduces loads more bugs and then they have to take time off, they're out of office, then there's going to be a lot of upset Starfield players with broken games. I've seen this happen with various other games, and it's not a good idea to release a massive update just before Christmas. Yes, the game isn't where it needs to be right now, but rushing something out just isn't the best way of doing it. The next beta update will probably have more than just 2 fixes. It's important to realise that it's a beta and not the full patch, as we've seen in the previous beta period. People definitely are frustrated, and they have the right to do so, and that has also led people to leaving bad Steam reviews, which Bethesda have been responding to. This is a bit of a weird one, so some people seem to think that there are actual developers from Bethesda replying to Steam reviews, but that's not the case. They are customer service reps, they're not the actual developers. I do appreciate when actual developers and publishers do have people responding to reviews, but also they are responding to these reviews not necessarily in the best way they should be. I don't think it's as bad as what some people have been making it out to be, but it is a bit cringe. Again, it's not the end of the world. I do appreciate that they are responding. At the end of the day, some of the reviews are just straight up ridiculous. Like, you'll see them 1,000 hours playtime, say they hate the game, this, that, and the other, but just can't stop playing. I'm not just talking about Starfield, I'm talking about games in general. It happens all the time with Steam reviews, Metacritic, things like that. Again, I'm not defending the behaviour necessarily, I'm just saying that it's been blown out of proportion in my opinion, even though it is a bit cringe. Bethesda to me do have this sort of old school way of going about their marketing and messaging. It's not just the reviews, but just how they handled pre-launch reviews and stuff like that. I don't think people in today's age, specifically gamers, like when Bethesda and other studios respond to Steam reviews. It's just not how gamers want to be told things, basically. I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything I've talked about in this video, so do let me know down in the comment section below, and drop a like if you did enjoy this video and learn something new. Subscribe so you don't miss any future news updates on Starfield, and if you did miss any of my previous videos, click on the playlist on screen right now, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.